autonomous driving has moved out of the lab and onto the streets. Backed by Alphabet, Waymo recently closed a massive $16 billion funding round, pushing their total valuation well past $100 billion. They have already served over 20 million fully driverless rides across major hubs like Phoenix, San Francisco, and Los Angeles. Looking at that kind of momentum, it is easy to assume the end game here. The logical expectation is that Waymo will eventually replace every human driver on the road, scaling exactly the same way Uber swallowed the traditional taxi industry. This comparison illustrates the core friction. Uber scaled because it was essentially cloud software, connecting people who already owned cars. Waymo operates on level 4 autonomy. This means the car does everything, but only within a strict pre-mapped physical zone. Scaling a physical robotaxi fleet is entirely different from pushing an app update. For Waymo, growth is tethered to the high-cost, high-friction task of navigating the physical world one city block at a time. Unlike a human driver who can navigate a new town by reading street signs, Waymo vehicles do not improvise. Before a car can enter a new city, engineers must map every single block to generate centimeter-accurate 3D models and run extensive localized tests. To read those maps, their 6th-generation vehicles are packed with highly specialized hardware, including complex camera arrays and LiDAR, which uses light pulses to measure distances in real time. Managing a massive physical fleet of custom electric vehicles requires hundreds of billions of dollars in physical infrastructure. Each market demands localized maintenance depots, dedicated cleaning crews, and massive charging hubs. The environment itself dictates where these cars can go. Waymo is currently testing in harsh winter conditions in Detroit and Minneapolis, but heavy snow and poor visibility create edge cases that blind the sensors and challenge the AI. Expand out to the developing world, and the AI faces chaotic traffic patterns, complex unpaved roads, and extreme weather systems that are still difficult for autonomous systems to parse safely. When you factor in the bespoke mapping, heavy hardware, and complex weather constraints, deploying level 4 autonomy is a slow, rigid process that is vastly more capital-intensive than launching software. Because mapping a single city block requires massive upfront investment, tackling an entire region needs a different strategy. Waymo applies a strict density filter. It makes zero economic sense to map sparse rural or suburban areas where passenger demand can't cover the setup costs. The path to profitability is narrow. They have to capture the massive ride volume and premium fares that only exist in hyper-dense urban centers. Waymo does not actually need to replace every taxi on Earth to win. Their goal is to capture the top 10% of the world's most lucrative markets. By permanently ignoring the vast majority of the world's roads, they bypass the least profitable miles and position themselves to build a multi-trillion-dollar business from a handful of global cities. They are already preparing for international rollouts, actively testing in new, complex environments like London and Japan. But beyond the technical limits of mapping a new continent, transportation is fiercely protected by local governments. Expanding globally means hitting strict regulatory walls at nearly every border. Markets like China are completely impenetrable. Homegrown tech giants like Baidu already run massive robotaxi operations through their Apollo program, backed by deep government support. Because of this heavy protectionism, foreign operators like Waymo will likely be locked out of some of the largest ride-hailing markets on the planet. Even if the AI could flawlessly navigate every road on Earth right now, sovereign borders ensure that a single worldwide monopoly is impossible. Instead of a monopoly, the rideshare future is a 3-tiered ecosystem. Tier 1 is premium high density. Major metros like San Francisco, New York, and Tokyo will be run by tech giants. Tier 2 is regional dominance. Protected markets like China will be ruled by local competitors. Then there is Tier 3, the long tail. For the vast stretches of suburbs, rural areas, and complex terrains, human drivers remain the only economically viable option. To speed up their urban dominance, Waymo is actually partnering with traditional platforms like Uber to handle back-end dispatching, effectively turning former rivals into infrastructure partners and blending the two networks together. Human drivers are not going extinct anytime soon, but in the world's densest financial hubs, the shift to a driverless baseline is already happening.